communication technologies, audience expectations, time and cost, nature of the message, presentation needs, and work environment. So what is a project communication? Project communication management includes the processes required to ensure timely, appropriate generation, collection, distribution, storage, retrieval, and ultimate disposition of the project information. The project communication management process provides the critical links among people and information that are necessary for successful communication. What is in it for you? 3 reasons that you need to manage project communication: meet the information needs of your project stakeholders, track and report on the project performance, and formally document the project results. This is that project communication metrics. It has initiating process, a planning process, executing process, controlling process. Until the time the project is going on, you stay in this 3 processes: planning, executing, controlling, planning, executing, controlling, planning. And when everything is done, project is complete, then you go to a closing process, right? These are the generic processes basically. Initiation, communication planning, determining the information and communication needs of the stakeholders, information distribution, making needed information available to project stakeholders, performance reporting, collecting and disseminating performance information including status reports, progress measurement and forecasting, managing stakeholders, managing communication to satisfy the needs and expectations of project stakeholders and resolve the issues. Communication planning has many W's and an H, and W says who needs to know, what do they need to know, how frequently do they need to know, what are the communications required, why is it important to know, and how are they kept informed. Who? Did you think of everyone? If you are designing an application in this project, have you included the end user in the early project communication? If your end user works for another organization such as a local or city government or a voluntary agency, have you also kept the IT people in those entities informed or not? What? Tendency to send too much to too many. Very easy to do with electronic communications. Too much is as bad as too little. Can't read everything. Target your audience and realize you may have more than one audience. When? How often you must send this information? Morning or afternoon, day of the week, which day of the month, different intervals for various stakeholders, weekly for team members, bi-weekly. So you have to make a decision so as to when do you want to send the information to all those people. Where do you want to send the information? Location for the status meeting, location for the team meetings, location for information. You must decide what is the location where you want to send the information. Why do you have to send the information? Is it just because of curiosity that people need to know, that's the reason that you need to send? Or do you want to send it on need to know who needs the information, only then you send? Provide information, prepare end users for transition, and many reasons to share information, right? There could be so many. How do you want to send the information? You have to make a decision as to how the information has to be communicated to the client. Emails, status reports, phone calls, these are the different methods of sending information, meetings, face-to-face, but you have to initially make a decision as to how do you want to send the information. This is the communication metrics. This is the first assignment that you have. For whatever project that you have decided to undertake, you have to develop a communication matrix. What are the fields of these communication metrics? Audience, vehicle, frequency, medium, source, delivered by, date delivered. Like, for example, audience. Anyone you run into, all stakeholders, chief information officer or the organization. What vehicle? Elevator conversations, change management, PMO status reports. Frequency, throughout the project, scope change, monthly, or whenever you want to. What's the medium? Through what medium do you have? Verbal information, meeting, hard copy, or what? Sources, what sources that you want to use? PM, PS, weekly status reports, delivered by who? Team, PM, PMO, PM, customer relations. Date on which it should be delivered as needed, last Thursday of every month. You have to make a decision that which audience needs this to be delivered on what date, expected result. You must also write in your communication matrix so as to what is the expected result of project buy-ins, control change, project status, identify major issues, visibly communicate in an informal manner regarding technology and business impacts. Communication planning. Every project should include some type of communication management plan, a document that guides project communications. Creating a stakeholder analysis of project communication also aids in communication planning. So whatever you're doing as far as your project is concerned, you have to develop a communication matrix for that, right? So this is a home assignment. Next class you come back, you have to, okay, now we have to have some makeup classes also. When do we need to have those makeup classes? Makeup classes कब करनी है? 2 classes हमने makeup करनी है before the midterm. What are those? Saturday, one is on Saturday. What time? How about 3 to 6 on Saturday? 3 to 6 ठीक है Saturday को? ठीक है? So on Saturday we have a class from 3 to 6, right? That's going to be our one makeup class, and then we'll decide about the next makeup class, right? Okay. ये ज़रा ग्रुप पे डाल दीजिएगा, ठीक है? Communication management plan contents stakeholder communication requirements, information to be communicated, including the format, content, and the level of details. The people who will receive the information and who will produce it, suggested methods or technologies for conveying the information. Okay, plan contents are frequency of communication, escalation procedures for resolving issues, review and procedures for updating the communication management plan, and glossary of common terminologies, right? Here's another stakeholder analysis of the project communication. You have stakeholders. What document do they need to be sent to? What is going to be the format of the document? Would it be a hard copy, or an email, or internet, or whatever? Contact person, who do you want to send this information? And what is the address of that person? And when is it due? Time on which it is to be sent. So this is a stakeholder analysis to make a decision as to who needs the information. Distribution, getting the right information to the right people at the right time and in a UL format is just as important as developing the information in the first place. Important considerations include the using technology to enhance information distribution and formal and informal methods for distributing information. Don't bury the crucial information. Don't be afraid to report the bad. Generally what happens is people are afraid of sending an information which is bad. Never be afraid of sending the bad information. You must be honest to your own self and honest to the organization and send all the information which is needed. Oral communication via meeting and informal talks helps bring important information, good and bad, out into the open. Importance of face-to-face communication. Research says that in face-to-face interaction, 58% of the communication is through body language, 35% of the communication is through how the words are said, and 7% of the communication is through the content or words that are spoken. Pay attention to more than just the actual words. Sometimes someone is saying, a person's tone of voice and body language says a lot about how he or she really feels about it. Encouraging more face-to-face information. Short, frequent meetings are often very effective in IT projects. Stand-up meetings force people to focus on what they really need to communicate, and some companies have policies preventing the use of email between certain hours or even entire. Many US में बहुत common देखा है, और businesses में जो developed countries में देखा है, the owners of the businesses don't allow their employees to use the mobile telephones. Nobody is allowed to use mobile. यहाँ पे बहुत commonly just everybody uses, no matter where they are, where they're working, factory है जिधर भी है, टेलीफोन हर एक के पास है और वो अपने काम पे भी टेलीफोन यूज कर रहा है. Nobody checks them. क्या तुम अपने काम के ऊपर, ऑफिस के अंदर just everybody uses टेलीफोन. टेबल के ऊपर ऑफिसर्स हैं तो उनके सामने 2 टेलीफोन पड़े हुए हैं, अपने मोबाइल, एक से एक जगह बात करते हैं, दूसरे से दूसरी जगह. ऐसे ही है ना, ये क्यों है? Because we have not been able to formulate the norms for using telephones, right? And it's very important that you must use those norms. Okay, media choice table. You must choose as to what information should go use which media, right? And this is like, key 1 is excellent, 2 is adequate, and 3 is inappropriate. How well medium is suited to assessing. अगर आपने ये काम करना है तो कौन सा medium use करने? Build consensus. If you want to build the consensus, hard copy is the most appropriate thing, and meeting is the most appropriate thing. Mediating a conflict, hard copy and voicemail and emails and websites are too bad. Meeting is too good. Making an ironic statement, if you want to use an ironic statement, the best is meeting. Reinforcing one's authority, the best is send a hard copy, right? Or in a meeting. It's not good to use voicemail, it's not good to use email, right? Asking an informational question, the best thing is to through a voicemail or through an email. Don't go for a website or meeting. So this table shows what kind of information is used through what kind of meetings or what kind of place or method. Understanding group and individual communication needs. People are not interchangeable parts. Remember that. It's not that एक बंदे को निकाले दूसरे को डालेंगे तो उसी तरह fit हो जाएगा जैसा पहला बंदा था. It will never happen. People have their own idiosyncrasies, so therefore just everybody cannot fit into somebody else's place. And illustrated in Brooks' book, The Mythical Man Month, you can't assume that a task originally scheduled to take 2 months of one person's time can be done in 1 month of 2 people's time. Personal preferences affect the communication needs. Introverts like more private communications, while extroverts like to discuss things in public. Intuitive people like to understand the big picture, while the sensing people need step-by-step detail. Thinkers want to know the logic behind the decisions, while feeling people want to know how something affects them personally. Judging people are driven to meet the deadlines, while the perceiving people need more help in developing and following plans. Other communication considerations. Rarely does the receiver interpret a message exactly as the sender intends. Geographical location and culture background affect the complexity of the project communication. Different working hours, language barriers, different cultural norms. Okay, setting the stage for communicating bad news. If you want to communicate bad news to somebody, you must set a stage first, right? And this is one of the examples. Dear mom and dad, or should I say grandma or grandpa, there's a girl who's sending this letter to her parents. Yes, I'm not married yet since Larry, my boyfriend, is out of job. Larry's employees just don't seem to appreciate the skills he has learned since he quit his high school. So that means boyfriend is not even high school qualified. Larry looks much younger than you, dad, even though he's 3 years older. I'm quitting college and getting a job so we can get an apartment before we are married. I found a beautiful apartment above a 24-hour auto repair garage with good insulation so the exhaust fumes and noise won't bother us. I'm very happy. I thought you would be too. Love, Ashley. समझ आई? She wants to communicate. P.S. There is no Larry. I'm not getting married. I'm not quitting school. But I'm getting a D in chemistry. I just want